there, my name is Svila Beck, the Rabbi from Another Planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. Please make sure you are subscribed, because there's going to be a ton of fantastic videos coming out. Starting from now, over the whole holiday period, and then we're going to start doing giveaways of Doctor Who Blu-rays and DVDs when the new series of Doctor Who starts. And then, of course, tomorrow's, Rise of Skywalker, episode 7 of The Mandalorian. So, again, lots and lots of good content coming your way. Just make sure you're subscribed and that little bell is rang for notifications. And I have finished watching Watchmen, the HBO series Watchmen. So, this has been a extremely frustrating series for me. In that, frustrating and confusing. In that I dislike many very integral core elements of it. But I ended up quite liking it for reasons that are baffling me. Actually, the Watchmen series is two things I can think of. One is giving me empathy for Alan Moore because, that along with this letter that Leah Moore, his daughter, put out a few weeks ago, basically saying that, yeah, you're right, Alan Moore is a grumpy, angry old man, but he loves comics. Can you imagine how tragic and sad it is that somebody with his talent and his love for comics was made to hate the thing that he loves? Which, yeah, I hear. And, he doesn't like sequels of his work going on without his permission. He feels it's, to a great extent, theft. I don't completely agree with it, but I naturally really never heard. But now I at least understand because I'm watching this HBO version of Watchmen, and I'm just imagining, it's hurting me that how something that is truly wonderful and beautiful has been defiled. Listen, this is not the worst adaptation or spin-off of Watchmen. I've only got through the first couple of issues of Doomsday Clock. And, it's just too dense and too boring. I just never really got into it. That would be the worst one. And I would say it's about on a par with the Before Watchmen series that came out. Maybe a little bit on a par. I think it would have been one of the weaker ones of if this was a comic book and came out in the same in the same time as all of those ones. But the other thing I said, it's just really confusing. Actually, so the second thing was what it reminded me of is one of the most disturbing scenes that Alan Moore ever wrote was in his more recent work, Providence, which is about a writer researching in the 1920s, I think, researching H.P. Lovecraft in New England, and with the premise that there was a lot of stuff Lovecraft wrote was a real expression of the state of reality, and so he's looking for this. He at one point towards the end of the second third, he encounters this magician type evil spirit type thing, who is hiding in the body of a young girl, like a 12, 13-year-old girl. And when she gets the reporter alone. Suddenly, he's able to switch bodies. So he's in her 12-year-old body, and the evil magician is in his body, and then he proceeds to rape her. So from his point of view, he's watching himself rape himself. It's just really weird and confusing, and he's really messed up for a good 2 or 3 issues after that, because he's like, well, what happened? He saw himself raping himself. It's very confusing, and that's how I feel about the HBO Watchmen series. I think the reason I've enjoyed much of it is because it's a magnificent triumph of style over substance. The substance, a lot of it, I just really hated. When I started to think about what I'm going to say for this review, for the final episode, and for the series in general, it's just I kept going through things, and all these things I really fundamentally disliked. So here's what I didn't. I didn't like all the white supremacy stuff. I think that was just utterly ridiculous. It Again, white supremacy. There's a what? There's maybe 5,000 people in the KKK, and they are all toothless people living in hovels and shacks. I don't think they're going to be able to being like that. And they were portrayed that way in the TV show, the HBO TV show. But at the same time, they're able to find a way of both capturing and destroying Doctor Manhattan, the most powerful being in the universe. I just don't see it happening. I just don't see them having the resources. I don't see white supremacy being that larger force in America today. The only reason things like people like the KKK and have get any oxygen is from the people screaming they're Nazis everywhere, because they're crazy people, and the people screaming they're Nazis everywhere are normally found in Hollywood, in the circles that Damon Lindelof will frequent. So I hated that part. I hated his casual racism, where if you're white and you live in the South, you obviously don't like black people. It's like, I've never met anybody like that. It's so hard to relate to that. And my wife's from Atlanta and from South Carolina. I spent a lot of time, in the South. Yes, I'm sure they exist. But it's just they're in such tiny enclaves. They're completely powerless. And I think that's where a lot of the prejudice does come from. So yeah, I really didn't buy any of that. I didn't buy. Again, your Hollywood racism, where you write black people as two-dimensional ciphers, only to exist to be abused and to be nobly withstand the abuse. So fine, I hated that. I don't think Lindelof understood Doctor Manhattan. Well, at least his understanding of it fundamentally differs from mine. Doctor Manhattan, unless he's being bombarded with tachyons, like in the graphic novel, his living inside all of space and time simultaneously doesn't play out the way Lindelof wrote it. Actually, a really good version of that, which understood it well, was the J. Michael Straczynski Before Watchmen series about Doctor Manhattan, which is also fantastic art. Fantastic art by something Hughes. One second, I'm going to look this up. Before Watchmen, Doctor Manhattan. Let's see who by. Before Watchmen. Let's look on Wikipedia. So 4-issue miniseries. Doctor Manhattan, 4 issues. Adam Hughes. Yes, absolutely beautiful. And it really understood the nature of how Dr. Manhattan perceived time, which I don't think Lindelof did. If he, at the end of episode 8, he goes, "Oh, now this is when they kill me." So the guy sneaks up behind him and fires this teleportation ray, where Dr. Manhattan has plenty of time to turn around and zap him. So yeah, he does. He wouldn't have time to. He can't be surprised that way. Also, I didn't like the way that he ended. He spent 10 years dating. What her name? The Sister Knight, whatever her name was, for no reason. And there's no reason that they got together and they fell in love, or if he even did love her. I didn't like his naivety either. None of it really worked. I could understand how Lady True would believe that she would be able to become a Dr. Manhattan type being, because the way Dr. Manhattan became Dr. Manhattan was he had the intrinsic field removed, whatever that may be, which dissolved him. But obviously, his consciousness stayed active. And because he was a nuclear physicist, he had a very good understanding of a human body. Do nuclear physicists understand human body? It seemed to indicate so in the comic book. Because when he reconstructed himself, he built himself like a central nervous system, a partial skeleton. So he had an understanding of anatomy, so he was able to do that. So I could understand how Lady True would think that she could do that. Don't understand how Senator Kean, who finally they revealed, he's the son of the Senator Kean from the graphic novel. So you have all these like really, really annoying threads that I think just really failed. But on the other hand, it's got the tone of it. I think really worked. I think the music, for example, was perfect throughout. No, there's nothing that I think didn't work. It's like they dropped it pretty early on. Was the police now wear masks, or the costume adventurers? Again, I didn't really buy it. Don't think it worked. It felt kind of stupid. Bottom line, just felt kind of stupid to me. Having said all that, when we got to the second half of the season, then we started getting more into the Watchmen lore, and I saw how they started to realize it. That I just loved all that stuff. I love seeing the Vietnam as a state of America, or how Dr. Manhattan impacted that society. That stuff was all fantastic, and the episode with Looking Glass was perhaps, I think, one of the best hours of TV this year. It was just absolutely fantastic, completely organically playing as an extension of the Watchmen comic book series. If it was just that one episode, I would be saying this is one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. And yet, that is the frustrating tragedy of it. If it wasn't done in 2019, I just think it will be so much better. But unfortunately, it was done in 2019. So you had, if it didn't have the white supremacy stuff in it, and it was just, I think, his weak understanding of Dr. Manhattan, I would have been I would have said this was much better. If they cured if they didn't have both those problems, this would have been a all-time classic. This is something I would have been beloved forever. But unfortunately, no, I'm not. I'm left feeling like Alan Moore's character from Providence. Did I just rape myself? What's going on? I don't know. Or am I left feeling like Alan Moore said, "Oh my God, they've just trashed over a piece of pure beauty, a piece of art of pure beauty, which I did, and they just besmirched it horribly." That's basically where I am with it. But still, it was an enjoyable watch. It was an enjoyable watch when they moved off the white supremacy stuff, even though the Dr. Manhattan stuff didn't really work. They also didn't explain why how Don Johnson's character at the beginning had an owl ship. The owl ship, you saw it in the background of this episode at Karnak, his base, Ozymandias' base in the Antarctica. That was something that really worked. That whole thing with that whole plot line of Ozymandias on Jupiter, on one of Jupiter's moons, and his escape. That was all fantastic. That was all absolutely fantastic. His interplay with Lady True. I bought all that. There was far too much staff though in Karnak. As I recall in the graphic novel, it was 3 Vietnamese men. And did they have the thing that Ozymandias was still a virgin? Really? That was a strange revelation, which I don't think was. I don't remember it being a plot point in the comic book series. So there we go. Watchmen, it's over. And I don't know. It's again a lot of conflicting feelings. I enjoyed much of it. I think it would have been enjoyed much of it, but I think my life would be better had it not been made, or it had been made in like 2015. That's really where I think I am with it. I doubt there's going to be a second season. It certainly seems to be a one and done, and it didn't really ignite the public consciousness that much. So yeah, I don't think we're seeing any more Watchmen. And again, I'm like, well, that's sad and good all at the same time. If it would be like this. You know what? Okay, I think bottom line is like this. if you want to make a follow-up to Watchmen, a sequel to Watchmen, what I think you really need to do is exactly what Alan Moore did and create something new using Watchmen as a template. Watchmen was made. He was originally planning on using these characters called the Charlton Heroes. So you had the Question instead of Rorschach, and Blue Beetle instead of Night Owl. So, I would say if you want to do something inspired by Watchmen, like a continued Watchmen, you should do what Alan Moore did and take the characters or situations and change them to make them your own, and then take it in whatever direction you want. I think you'll probably end up with something far more successful if you do that. My name is Svila Becken, the Rabbi from Another Planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. More videos coming very soon. Have a great day.